The highly anticipated debut for informed West Ham striker Mikel Antonio ended in a 3-0 defeat for Jamaica. There's absolutely no doubt that Panama went to the office and outclassed Jamaica. And so, I had to analyze this match as it was a shocking result for the Reggae Boys after narrowly losing 2-1 to Mexico in the Azteca. Thomas Christiansen's Panama dominated possession and outplayed Jamaica in every area of the field. But before we get into how Christiansen tactically outclassed Whitmore, let's first look at how both teams were lined up. So Jamaica lined up in a 4-4-2 formation, having made 8 changes to the team that lost against Mexico, with Mikel Antonio and Kemar Roof making their debut. On the other hand, Christiansen kept faith in the same 11 that earned him a point at home against Costa Rica. Before we get into Panama's tactics in possession, let's first look at how they played without the ball, because that was important in how they managed to gain the upper hand. To start with, the Reggae Boys are not known to build up from the back, but when they tried, Panama pressed them high. This made it difficult for Jamaica to advance the ball through the thirds and forced them to go long to get out of their own defensive third. Panama at times dropped back slightly to allow Jamaica to advance the ball, but they made sure that there were no direct passes through the middle. This meant Jamaica now had to play in the wide channels. When Jamaica played ball into wide areas, Panama's wide midfielders would quickly close down the Jamaican fullbacks to force the play backwards or to play long. This tactic accomplished 2 important objectives for Panama. It made things difficult for the Jamaican central midfielders to get on the ball, and so they had to start dropping deep to collect the ball. So with Jamaica no longer having central forward options behind the first line of defense to receive and progress the ball, Panama could easily occupy the central areas of the field. The other objective was to cut off the supply to Antonio and Roof, which would force them to drop deep into central areas to get on the ball. This meant Jamaica's most dangerous attacking threats were far away from Panama's goal. Notice how, as Morrison drops to collect the ball, Barcenas closes him down while cutting off the passing options to his right. At the same time, the other nearby Panama players are closing down his near passing options. Morrison is now forced to dribble to advance the ball. Now as Barcenas continued to pressure Morrison, the Panama central midfielders remained in position to cut off all forward passing options. And as Roof drops into the pocket of space to support Morrison, Andrade tracks him and picks his pocket. This immediately led to Panama's first goal as Andrade dribbled through the middle before striking it past the Jamaican goalkeeper. So that's pretty much how Panama played without the ball. With the ball, they were far more impressive. But before we can understand how Christiansen's tactic was a masterclass, we must first look into how Jamaica wanted to defend. It was clear from the start that Jamaica didn't want to win the ball high up the pitch. And as they employed a mid-block during Panama's first phase of the build-up, forwards Antonio and Roof were tasked to close down Panama's central defenders. Wide midfielders Burke and Reed would close down the fullbacks on their side, while Johnson and Morrison would trap Panama's central midfielders. The idea was to stay compact centrally, prevent Panama from playing through the middle, and to force them into wide areas. Now, let's get into Panama's tactical masterclass. It was clear from their previous game against Costa Rica that Panama dominated possession through their deep line playmakers. And since Jamaica tried to force them into wide areas, Christiansen used mobility and width to attract pressure and to draw the Jamaican players out of position. This created gaps in the Jamaican midfield as well as space between the lines, where Rodriguez and Quintero would now drop to receive the ball. The idea behind that was to create space behind the Jamaican fullbacks where Panama could exploit with players making runs in behind. For example, this tactic was seen at the start of the game and it continued throughout the match. Since Jamaica was so passive in their pressing and Panama had so much of the ball, Panama were now able to build with a 3-2-5 structure and create overloads against the Jamaican back 4 defenders. So since Panama had at least 4 players targeting spacing behind Jamaica midfield, it was imperative that Jamaica's 4 midfielders maintain their shape to avoid being penetrated. Panama's midfielders kept moving, and as the Jamaican midfielders tried to trap them, they lost their midfield compactness. As you can see, Jamaica's midfielders have lost their compactness, and as Reed tries to close down Mario, this now creates a big enough space for Escobar to break the line with a penetrating pass to Rodriguez. Rodriguez has players ahead of him, trying to exploit the space in behind. Panama's fullbacks kept attracting Jamaica's wide midfielders, pulling them out of position and creating gaps between them and the central midfielders. As Reed anticipates a pass to Mario and moves to his left, Escobar breaks the line with another through pass to Rodriguez. Again, Rodriguez has players ahead of him trying to exploit the space in behind. So with Harding protecting the space inside, space is opened up on the outside for a pass to Davis. Now as Harding steps out and closes down Davis, Barcenas makes a run in behind him. Blackburn and Quintero are now able to pick up spaces between the two Jamaican centre-backs. This was constant throughout the match, and Panama kept creating overloads against Harding. In Panama's second goal, we see the same play. A wide pass to Davis attracts Burke, while Goddard pulls Morrison out of position. As Barcenas checks into the half space to receive a pass from Andrade, Harding is dragged out of position. Davis now runs into the free space and receives a pass. Again, Blackburn, Quintero and Rodriguez are now 3 versus 3 with the Jamaican defenders. A pinpoint accurate cross from Davis finds the head of Blackburn, and Panama were now 2 goals ahead. Despite Jamaica making changes at halftime, Panama continued their dominance and were able to add another goal and complete yet another victory against the Reggae Boyz.